Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's an amazing buildup that we've been experiencing here. All the mock drafts that have been around for a year in advance. To be quite honest with you, it's all bull. It's rare when anybody can pick 5 right, let alone the entire first round. We're going to tear things to shreds tonight, including Mel Kiper and McShay. I mean, those dudes don't know nothing. You know it, we know it, and we want to set the record straight, to be quite honest with you. The war rooms, they're a little shaky, some of them too. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about who's going to hit on their picks, who is a favorite, who is a guy out there that's really going to make a difference, maybe a perennial all-pro, who helped himself to make it to the next level from being a bottom dweller to getting into the race, from being in the race to getting to the next level, maybe being in the playoffs and giving a push, who has no clue how to draft. That's another thing we're going to talk about. I think there are some teams out there that are just floundering, and I know these guys do. We talk about this stuff off of here. We have one hell of a text chain that goes on. It's incredible. We're going to cover some surprise draft picks. We're going to look into the crystal ball for the top 5 picks next year, who we think may or may not be a top 5 pick next year. And we'll talk about those heavily contested quarterbacks who were drafted and how we think they will place after the 2023 season. We'll see who got the bargains and who didn't. So let's go ahead and get the guys introduced. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Rasheen Hill.
My Walkersville guy. Go ahead, hit us.
Yes, Rasheen.
Mike Newbizer.
Coming straight out of senior night.
Coach Noob.
T says, what's up?
Yeah, these guys aren't too fired up yet, but I'll get them going. Hey, man. You got any cool gear on tonight? You wearing anything special? I went with Star Wars. May the force be with may the fourth be with you. Yeah, I like it, sis. Noobs, what do you got? A Chargers hat on? Of course you
Chargers
do.
hat. There you go. Chargers
Rasheen,
hat.
what do you got going on over there?
Man, I'm just trying to get a good signal.
You're doing good.
We've been talking about that forever. We might have to pitch in and get you like a Wi-Fi power booster or some shit.
No, it's the neighborhood. It's it flats. It goes up. It goes down.
MCPS still has those MoFis. We can get one of those MoFis.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, Rasheen, if you'd have known that, would you have moved there?
Yes.
Okay, that's important. You can always get that Wi-Fi thing straightened out. I don't know why they don't have. I don't know why they don't have FiOS. Do they have FiOS out in your neighborhood? We still don't have it over here because they'd have to dig everything up in my neighborhood, and I live like 5 miles from you, maybe.
Yeah, they're starting to dig it up now.
FiOS is the way to go. It's fast.
Noobs, if you could be one player in today's NFL, who would it be and why?
Very easy answer. Bobby Wagner, because he is an ass kicker. And he's smart.
Wagner.
And he's a leader of men. He is a leader of men. You could tell by the way he walks around. Guys follow him. He's a dude. That's who I'd want to be if I was playing the NFL right now.
Okay.
I was thinking about that. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Wagner's getting to the end of his career too, so that's probably a pretty good guy to pick because he's getting to the end. He's probably cashed in a lot, still kicking ass, still has guys following him. I could see him being a coach someday.
You go back to Seattle this year?
He's a smart player, and he's physical. He's always been a good guy. Like, I don't know. I'd want to be a guy like that.
Did he go back to Seattle?
I believe he did.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's an ass kicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he has a Super Bowl
How about you,
ring, right?
Sis?
Didn't he get a Super Bowl
ring?
ring?
He does.
Yeah, he did. He almost had 2. He almost had 2, remember?
Yep. Let's throw the ball when we got the toughest running back in the history of the NFL.
That made no sense.
I think what's his name knew what was coming. He had some kind of inside before that play even happened. Just my opinion.
The cheater.
He's not the first running back to get the shaft. I was thinking about that Walter Payton when they gave the ball to Fridge.
Yeah,
but they stuck it in, though. They stuck it in. Who I picked, I didn't really pick a person per se other than Mr. Irrelevant, because this guy has to persevere. And look what happened last year with Brock Purdy. He did Purdy
Yeah.
well. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how I can't even say his name. DeJuan Johnson from Toledo. He was Mr. Relevant this year. I don't know what kind of impact he's going to have. But when you put that label on somebody and you're like, hey, you're good enough to make it, but you suck, so we're going to call you irrelevant. I think that would just fuel the shit out of me, and I would want to just, do all I can. That's who I would be.
At least he got drafted, though. How about some of those guys that didn't get drafted? We're going to get into that a little bit later. Some guys that flip-flop teams and
in the NFL,
it didn't work out well for them.
In the NFL, you can do all that you want, but trust me, that might not be enough.
Right.
Yeah. Who would you be, Rasheen?
Aaron Donald, man. Hometown kid, all the money, out in LA. I get to come back to Pittsburgh and I get to come back to Pittsburgh, work out at Pitt, bring all the recruits in, help recruit, and maybe pay a couple NIL deals for them. Never know.
And be a master knife fighter. You'll never get stabbed with a knife.
Yes.
That was mine. That was mine. He patterns his game after mine when I was younger. High motor, stout. I love contact. Yet a stand-up guy. I was always a stand-up guy, and I had hair, but he's just like mine more. But that's who I had too. Really,
so Aaron Donald was like, I want to pattern my game after Mark Maradei. That's what he said when he
did. He
was
probably
growing up.
saw my film at Kiscaria High School back in the day.
When you body slammed Bill Fralick. Yes, I remember that. that.
Shit. Now, you want to hear a good story?
Bill took him down.
I'm going to tell you a funny story, guys. This is a funny story. I was a junior starting on a really good team. We made the playoffs every year. Every year. We won the Foothills Conference, made the playoffs every freaking year.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm starting, and I forget exactly who we were playing, but our coach says to me, he says, you got to watch for the screen. I played like a 0, 1, 3, somewhere in there. He says, you got to watch for the screen. If you feel the pressure easing up and they're letting you go, you got to stop and go back. So we're playing this team. I'm feeling it. I drop into coverage. No screen. Okay, great. We stop them. Do it again. Fucking they start calling me Nickel D. Next day in film, my coach threw keys at me. He said, what the hell are you doing? Man, I transcended that position. How many D linemen do you see drop back now? I transcended that shit. Somebody watched my film. They knew exactly what was going on. He was fine, hey, here's the dick deals. The man was a great. My head coach in high school, Mike Rasheen, you may have even heard of him. Terry definitely knows him. He was so far ahead of the curve. I can't begin to tell you. In the early 80s, when we were banging weights and doing the shit we were doing, he was way ahead of the curve. Like he, in so many ways, I look up to him. He made me the man I am today, aside from my family. But in a lot of ways, he fucking beat me down. And, I can't respect that part of it. But I'll tell you what, I transcended that position. That's
but your mom called and talked to the coach about
my
that.
mother never called anybody. I body slammed a dude. This dude. We were playing Connellsville. They had this guy. His name was Joe Bailey. He was their quarterback. He was very well known. Very well known. So I rush him, grab him, body slam him. Instead of just tackling him, I body slam him for a sack. They fucking throw me off the field for a play. Coach, settle your guy down. Our coach walks halfway out in the field by the numbers, grabs me by the face mask, pulls me off. What the hell are you doing? What are you thinking? Just tackle him. Okay. I get home. My dad says, what the hell are you doing? If I were Dilts, I'd have beat your ass on the field. It's a different time, a different day, a different age.
Accountability, yep.
Let's keep rolling with the show. Sorry for my storytelling. I've had a few seltzers, and I'm feeling.
I love it. Rasheen, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say KA all day.
KA all day. Yeah. So we played Central Catholic my junior year. They came out, Central Catholic High School, where Marino went to school. They came out, they had special shirts for that game.
Whoa.
Kiski's, some K all day, something like that. It was crazy. They had special shirts made for that playoff game. Guess who won that playoff game, noobs? We did.
Hell yeah.
Wow. We did. I actually ended up scoring one of those shirts a little bit later.
You all right?
Machine, you probably want to have your face on that camera, not your ass. Okay. Hey,
get one of those people to help.
I thought I was going to have to call 911. I thought you fell out.
Let's go down this show right here. Let's go this route on this show. Who's going to be the most influential pick? The number one guy. Who's going to be most influential? Probably a perennial All-Pro. What are you thinking?
Go ahead,
Rasheen, what are you thinking there?
I'm going with Jalen Carter.
Okay.
You know why I'm going to go with Jalen Carter? I'm going to tell you why. Because even when we played the Eagles, and it no matter what their record is, we could never block their front four. Never. And then it's just like they always get a bunch of guys around a bunch of other guys. You know what I mean? And, now you can't double this guy, or now you can't, in Aaron Donald's case, triple this guy. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be him. I think he's going to prove the naysayers wrong. He was crying. He's ready.
The Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I might have something to say about Jalen Carter in a couple questions here, maybe in a minute. But I think my most influential player will be Devin Witherspoon, that went to Seattle, the corner from Illinois.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have like a Sauce Gardner type season. I really feel like he'll jump out and be a dude. If you watch his film, he was really, really impressive. Big physical kid, just incredible skills. I think he's going to be a dude at corner.
So before we jump off to the next one, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think playing in certain conferences prepares you for better things? Because when I think Big Ten, I think run. When I think Pac-10, pass. So do you guys think the corners will be better out there, or like in the Big Ten for a running conference?
I'm going to challenge you to something before you say anything, noobs. There are 32 teams in the NFL, right? 32 teams?
Yes, sir.
I challenge you to find out who the two starting corners are on each team and where they came from, and bring that to the table next show. That'll be interesting to know, because I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
Okay. All
so,
right.
I mean, who did Sauce Gardner play against in college?
I don't even know what conference he was in. Was it a
Cincinnati?
He went to Cincinnati.
I'm just saying, who did he play against? How many guys in the NFL?
No. I didn't say who you're playing against. I'm saying, are you playing against a lot of passing? That's all I'm saying. And I think his conference is a passing conference, right? Conference USA, is that what they are?
Oh, yeah, definitely more than the Big Ten. But if you're a dude, you're a dude, in my opinion. But,
I mean, I'm just curious. That's what I was wondering the whole draft. I'm like, well, is the Pac-10 just a pass happy league? So
I see what you're saying, but like what Noob was saying, if you're a dog, you're gonna know how to do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to tweak it. They're gonna have to tweak it, but I think they got the accoutrements, like Maradei likes to say, to go out and fine tune their game, and they'll be able to play against the run or play against the pass.
Yeah. Okay.
Noobs, you drinking the Kool-Aid?
for that.
He's drinking the Kool-Aid. Heading into next
I'm
season.
just telling you, I watched Devin Witherspoon play, and that dude can ball. And there's a certain corner that came from the Big Ten that's going to the Steelers that I think you guys like, don't you?
I do. I like the side.
I do. I didn't like him for the longest time. I like where they grabbed him at. I think that was an ideal spot to get him. I don't know if I'd have liked that at 17, because then that would have changed the dynamics of the draft at number 32. But I do like what they did there at number 17. Hi, Lainey. She could chime in. She's a big-time football person. Hey, Young, who would you think is going to be that perennial pro?
I'm going to stay on that D side. I'm going to stay on that D side of the ball just because they moved up to get him, and I think he's going to be an immediate impact player off the edge. And he was actually predicted to go number one, Will Anderson with the Texans. I think he'll, like I said, be immediate impact player for them because they suck, but also he's number one on the depth chart for them at that position. He's gonna start, and he's going to, I think, be a perennial.
A quarterback change might be necessary for the team that I'm going to pick the person from. I'm going to go with Jackson Smith and Jigba, or however you pronounce that last name. I just think he's playing opposite DK Metcalf, and I think that's legit in and of itself. They're going to have a run game next year. You know, they got Kenneth Walker. You know, I do think that team is going to be. I don't know if Geno Smith is the answer. He had a great year this year, and kudos to him. Like, man, that dude's 32, 33 years old, and he made that shit happen. He got himself a nice contract. Even if he doesn't play that contract out, he's still going to get some money, and he can retire happy.
He went to West Virginia. I think that's smart.
Well, yeah, but he had a great year. He's been around for a while. I definitely think Smith and Jigba, though, I can just see him playing opposite Metcalf and them having to roll the coverage to him inevitably and let Metcalf do his thing.
That's a good call. That's a really good call. I like that.
So, who's your overhyped pick, Mike?
Ironically, it's Jalen Carter because he's an asshole.
Oh, come on.
No, he's lazy. Who the hell comes to an NFL workout and can't even finish it?
Hainsworth.
Exactly.
No, Hainsworth.
Prove my point.
But Hainsworth didn't
finish
fall
his
apart
workout. He didn't finish his workout. What? Real quick. What separates the best players in the NFL, like the elite, Jerry Rice, anybody that's at the elite level? What separates those guys from the rest of them?
Work ethic.
Thank you. He's not that guy.
If his coach calls him out on it, didn't his coach call him out on it?
Yes.
Maybe he's a natural.
His coach called him out. You know what's real interesting to me, Rasheen? I read this the other day about, and I was telling Noobs this today, actually. I didn't know that Narduzzi called out freaking Caden Slovis. He was happy as shit that he transferred. He called him out, like, straight up, like, peace.
Yeah.
You need to go. You're not going to help this team.
Not good for the culture.
Yeah, he set us back. You know, he never found – he was a stud. He had 30 touchdowns and 9 interceptions his 2019 season. Then he never surfaced again.
Pac-10.
Those guys are there for them. How many do you think? Like, they're there for them just to get to the next level. They're not there. They're not there for –
Well, I mean, yes, some of them are. Some of them are there because they know they're going to the league. All these guys don't know they're going to the league. Some guys, I'm sure, like when you got the Wake, you knew who was going to the league.
So there were some surprises.
Okay.
There were some surprises.
Rasheen, who was your overhyped guy? Any round.
Overhyped? Bryce Young.
That's mine. What the hell? That's 2 in a row you stole.
That says something, though. That's awesome. You guys are on the same page.
I mean, I'm not sold on my little brother playing quarterback in the NFL. I'm not. I'm just not.
I love the picture that Mark sent.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little dude. He's a little dude.
Yeah, I just don't get the hype with that. I just never did.
He doesn't have speed like Lamar. You know, he's not going to be able to see over that line. I know he got it done in college. I know he had an incredible line, big dudes. I get it. But you know what? When defensive linemen are running 4 or 5, that's a whole nother show.
Man,
that's a whole nother show. They're not playing Louisiana Monroe every week or whatever in the hell they played.
It's like going to Quince Orchard. Like you're there with a bunch of good players surrounding you. They're going to make you better, and you possibly going to make them better. But yeah, he got all 5-star kids playing around him. I'm not impressed. That don't impress me much. I don't know who's saying that. One of them ladies saying that, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit that button. That don't impress me much. No. Well, later on I'll talk more about that. Sis, who'd you pick as your?
Well, hey, real quick before, do you guys feel like Stroud's the same? Because I mean, Stroud has had how many first-round draft picks that he's thrown to?
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Stroud has size, and Stroud was floundering to start the season, and you saw a complete turnaround in him where he led that team down the stretch. I feel like he took that team on his back and led that team down the stretch. Essentially, that's a different different style. I don't think you can lump them together.
But look at his receiving room.
That's true.
He's got like 3 or 4 guys that are going to be first-round picks.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, and they have another guy. There's another guy also.
Yeah. He's predicted to go in the top 15 next year. I'm trying to think what his name is.
You mean
he was on that one list I sent you guys.
You talking about Flemings?
No, he has a lot of vowels in his name.
Oh wow.
Not Italian, no.
No, it's an African name, I think, with a lot of vowels.
Yeah. I'll find it for us.
But he has a great receiver room.
Ike Egbuka.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. There's just something about Stroud. I think there's something different there. I know mid-season they were talking about this kid needs to stay for another year, and then what the hell happens? He takes it up a whole nother level. Bryce Young won the Heisman and all that shit, but this year, I don't know. I don't personally. I don't know if he makes it, but that's me. That's me. So,
too.
Young, who were you going to say?
So it's not necessarily an overhyped player as much as I didn't understand this pick by the Packers when they took their tight end, Musgrave. He played 2 games. He played 2 games last year.
What?
He played.
He was injured. Yeah, he was injured.
He was hurt.
And so he played 2 games as freshman, 2 games his senior year.
Wow.
And there were just a lot more. So they needed a tight end. They drafted for need. I understand that, but there were other tight ends on the board.
Darnell Washington was on the board when he got drafted.
The guy we got, the Steelers got.
Yeah.
And his numbers are not that good.
No.
They got caught up with the PFF.
I don't even think he had 1,000 in 4 years or something yards.
Young, who was your top 3? Who was your top 3 that helped themselves? They gave himself a little boost.
Well, I mean, obviously the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
One.
I mean, we can all agree on that. Everybody probably has that one written down. Most agencies, most people who evaluate that shit have said the Steelers had, questionably the top draft out there.
Yes.
Let's go through their picks. Can we talk about their picks?
No.
The Steelers picks? Yeah, let's talk about them.
I mean, this is a Pittsburgh thing. We should talk about the Pittsburgh picks, right?
It's not necessarily a Pittsburgh thing, but we could roll with it.
Let's go. Broderick Jones.
I wanted to know.
Broderick Jones, Mike, did I not tell you, Mike, Broderick Jones was the guy they wanted?
Mark, you said it. Mark said it. And here's the best part. They moved up to get him, right?
Yeah.
Where'd they get the pick from? New England.
They got it. Yeah. They got him right.
Guess what Belichick said? He said he didn't care that he only got a 4th-round pick for them to move up.
Right.
He said he didn't care because he wanted to screw the Jets. How funny is that? Because the Jets, Jets were going to get him.
Mike, you know what Belichick picked with that 4th-round pick?
What did he pick? Oh,
he
that's
picked that kid from Maryland.
That's right.
Dude, I don't think he cares.
I mean, that was crazy. He drafted a punter and a kicker.
You can't
He
fire
just gave him
dude.
the double bird. He gave him the double bird on that one.
You can't get rid of him because he's done so much. So
right. But
yeah,
how funny is it for him to let them move up for like a 4th round and he's like, okay, fine. Let's them move up. They get their guy. They get him in front of the Jets, and they move back. That's so funny.
Makes me wonder what the Steelers would have done at 17, though. I still don't think they'd have taken Peasy Jr. I think they'd have tried to roll with a different tackle.
You think Jones would have been gone?
Yeah. Oh, the Jets would have taken him.
Jets would have definitely taken him. Unquestionably.
That was the end of the line, supposedly. Yeah, Jones was the last guy that was like a 1st-round grade, right?
Yeah.
Well, they were all going. They took an edge. They took the pass rusher, McDonald.
Who's a project, but I love that kid. That kid he's a dude coming off the edge. Anyway, let's go through it. Broderick Jones. Okay, so they got Keanu Bretton. You guys like him?
Yeah.
Mark, you were saying they were going to get him.
Yeah, I told you that one too, because I read in January I read in January that at the Senior Bowl, he was the first guy Tomlin went and talked to. He really liked that kid. He was watching from afar, and then he rode up into the drills at the Senior Bowl and was talking to that kid, and he really liked his motor. He liked everything about him. And then I think I'm not 100% sure. I know he came to visit, but I think they dined with him, and he really liked the kid's character and attitude. So I knew that was coming too. As soon as I saw him on the board when it got to that pick, that second pick, I knew that was coming. You know, and they're going to start him out. Well, what I saw, they're planning. The Steelers are planning on starting him out as a maybe a 0. You know, they'd like to plug and play right there. But I think inevitably, what's going to happen is he's going to move outside to replace Cam. I think that's the plan there. Unless Leal really steps his game up, which is possible. Because let's not forget, the Steelers drafted Leal in the 3rd round last year, right? He was projected the year before, he was projected a top 5 pick, and then he got hurt his college season that year, came off the board. Nobody paid any attention to him, and then the Steelers grabbed him in the 3rd round last year.
All right, I miss Joey Porter.
From nose to tackle.
Nose to end.
With that 3-down lineman, I don't know how significant it is because I don't know if he's a true nose. I don't know if he's a true 0.
This one thing about like Casey Hampton, there's no way that you can put him on the end.
No,
you know what I mean?
But he was gigantic.
He covered 2-3 holes.
Well, that was the plan.
He was plug and play. He was just plugging it up. You couldn't put him on the end. You put this guy on the end.
His job was to take a double team every snap, and if he could, grab a triple team. If he could start getting penetration, and they'd have to get another hand on him. You know, Mike. As far as PZ Jr. goes, that was pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, what were you going to do there? The only other guy
they had a whole night to think about it too. But I bet they had a lot of trade offers, though. I'm sure, don't you think?
So they had I heard they had 10.
Oh,
nah, wow. It was high. Some of them were just throwing some shit out and hoping it stuck on a wall. But I listened to one of the guys talk about him, and they said the only way the Steelers would have traded that pick is if they had moved down no more than 5 picks, and they got a second next year. That was like what they felt was a fair deal, you know. And I agree with that without a doubt. I agree with that.
Well, good for them.
Yeah,
they stuck to it. And okay, so then they get Darnell Washington, who is a freak. That's like having a 6th lineman that can run down the field and catch.
So I said to Rasheen, I even said in our text group, it kind of reminds me when the Steelers took Larry Brown back in the day. Okay, maybe even Al Villanueva when he played with the Eagles. He was a tight end, and they put weight on him because his feet were so good and his reach was so long that they turned him into a tackle.
Tight end? Was he a tight end?
Al Villanueva?
In college?
Al Villanueva did, and so did Larry Brown. And, you know, Chooks has 2 more years on his contract. They're going to play this kid in double tight situations. They say he's a spectacular blocker. And even though he has good range in terms of catching the ball, if I could have a guy step in there that I developed for 2 years and move him in a tackle with his blocking ability, am I going to do that? Because I have 3 legit tight ends as it is. You know, the only thing I could see them doing with Connor Hayward, and I think I said this quite a bit too, moving him to H. But from what I'm hearing, they've re-signed Watt. I haven't read it formally, but he put something out that made it seem like he was re-signed. You know, so I'm sure it's a very, very minimal contract if they
better be.
But I haven't read anything.
Straight to Rasheen, or did he just put it out there for everybody?
He knows Rasheen loves him.
Dude, I was thinking about your comment about Belichick just saying, "Hey, we'll pick whoever." I didn't realize this. They had 12 picks in the draft. Everyone else had 7. Not everyone, but they had 12 picks. That's a lot. So they can blow a couple here and there just to piss some people off.
They had a lot of you know what's funny? I was listening to Sports Junkies, and one of the things they said is if you could get a kicker that would make it 100% of the time, where would you pick him? Everyone was like, 1st round. You'd pick a kicker in the first round if he's a dude. Like if he's that good, they guaranteed you 3 points. You get inside the 40, and it's guaranteed 3 points. I don't know. I mean, it's good argument. It's an interesting thing to think about.
Janikowski.
I don't know.
He was
I don't know
picked
if
in the
this
first
kid's
round.
that, but this kid's a stud. So who knows? I mean, I think it's a little high. I would never draft a kicker in the 4th round.
No.
You know what? I'm signing a guy as a free agent, undrafted free agent. If he's that good, I'm signing him right away as soon as the draft ends. But I'm not. I don't believe in drafting kickers and punters. I just don't. I don't. As important as they are, they're not worth a draft pick because they only play how many plays a game.
How about this, Mark? The Chargers drafted a long snapper last year.
Steelers did too.
What?
Steelers have drafted long snappers.
So
In
bad.
fact, Mike, Deborah Monk,
Yeah.
who hired me to coach football at Rockville High School, her son was drafted to be a long snapper for the Steelers. Yep. So,
Wild.
I mean, you get those guys. And if you get the right guy, he's around for 15 years. You know, if you get
Did you
the
guys
right
get
guy,
a chance to
you
watch?
start-
Oh yeah, I agree. You're right. That's a good point. It's longevity. You're right. Did you guys like Herbig?
Yeah.
I love the pick. I just want to see where they're going to play him because he's got to get some weight on that ass if they're going to play him at the outside and do a rotation. They got to get a vet as a rotating number 3. They don't have a vet to rotate at number 3 at outside.
Van Noy or whatever?
Did they get Van Noy?
Well, no.
Or is that just speculation?
There's a lot of
speculation.
there's a lot of specs out there right now.
Okay. I was going to say, if they get him, there's your vet.
Yeah, they're going to get somebody. I can assure you, because Kahn is just, he's not Colbert. And I think we can agree on that. He's not Colbert.
No.
You know, he's aggressive. He's aggressive. And I'm wondering to myself, is that what Tomlin needed as a GM? Does he need an aggressive guy to go out and show, hey, I'm putting these guys on the field for you. Now it's your time to step your game up as coach and let's get this going. You know, we're not playing 500 ball. I don't want to go 500. That's great. You have a never had a losing season, but that doesn't do shit for our trophy case.
He's young.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mike,
Well,
what'd you
you
think of
guys
that
see
dude they grabbed?
Well, I was good. I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead,
I
Mark.
was going to ask you about that Trice kid.
I don't know
The
too
kid
much
from
about
Purdue.
him.
The kid from Purdue.
He had good grades.
Yeah, he had a real good grade. He had a good grade. That's such a deep corner class. It was, you know, I mean,
Omar
interesting.
Genghis Khan, baby.
Who was the last dude they drafted? That Maryland lineman. Mike, what do you know about him?
Maryland lineman. They said he's draftable. Like he's a legit guy. Hopefully, he makes the roster. If not, he'll be on the practice squad for a year or two. He'll be all right. Not bad.
I think the last 3 or 4 drafts they've drafted a Maryland lineman. Last year it was Derwin, or 2 years ago it was Derwin. What's his name? I mean, they Tomlin likes that Maryland connection.
He got a safety from Maryland at one point too, didn't he?
Yeah, Anton
Brooks. Yeah.
Anton Brooks, yeah. Played down at right down the street from Roosevelt. I'm trying to think what that high school was.
Hyattsville.
It'll come to me. Huh?
No, I made it up. I just made up something.
Oh, I can't think of the name of it, but it was not. It was a pretty. Enigma high school. It wasn't anybody special.
No, we played him in the playoffs. Jesus.
Hyattsville.
No.
It's the other direction. It's going
Coach
towards
Powell.
Bowie.
Coach Powell was a coach. Oh,
I can see it.
God.
I can see it. As you.
Forest.
No, it's not Forestville.
Forest.
Glenelg.
The other way.
Wrong direction.
I played him first game ever as head coach at Rockville. I played him first game ever.
Hold on. That was they were orange and blue.
Yeah, orange. They're orange and black, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because
We pulled up in a bus and everybody was smoking weed in the parking lot. We walked in the locker room. There were no lights on. They never turned lights on. It was their coaches came out with Tim's on. Tim's on and shorts down below their knees. I was like, shit, we're in trouble here. We ended up losing 14-13. Then we got the win because they had a kid who was 21 playing for them.
Is that like Wheaton's wrestling program this year?
Wow. What's the
That's
Craziness.
funny. He brought up Wheaton
Craziness.
wrestling.
Yeah, it was my very first head coaching game.
To wrestle Wheaton.
Like 4 weeks into it, I get a call. Hey, Coach Maradei, you're going to get awarded that victory. Yeah, here's the problem. They had a kid that was 21 playing for him. He signed up as a 16-year-old. Okay. You know, whatever you say, guys, I just follow what you tell me.
That's crazy.
Hey, let me ask you this. Let's go back to the winners in this draft. We all agreed on the Steelers. Sizzle, who else you have? Detroit?
I want Detroit.
Let's just go around. Yeah, Detroit.
I like Detroit.
Wow, they're not high on a lot of lists. Duval, Mark.
Duval High School. I was just that's it, Mike. Duval High School. Did you play them?
Yes,
Mike, did you play
and we
them?
played Antoine Brooks. Brooks is a quarterback, and we messed his knee up really bad.
Antoine Brooks. Yeah, he went to the Steelers. He's still floating around the league. He's still
he's
around the NFL.
He's an XFL.
Oh, he is now?
He had an intercept
That's
last
interesting.
week. Yep, he had an intercept last week.
Hey, they got decent athletes in that XFL, better than the USFL. I'll tell you that right now.
The Steelers just got one from the XFL.
That receiver,
6'5",
pretty damn good. Yep, he's pretty big. He's pretty good. He was drafted too. He was a drafted receiver.
I think getting back on track, I think the Bears had a good pick. They filled for their need. They got some offensive line, defensive line, right away the first two picks.
Listen, you're missing the obvious guys. The Eagles.
Can I?
Well, I mean, when you say get better, they were just in the Super Bowl. I mean, how much better can you get?
Win it.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hoist the trophy. You gotta hoist the trophy, right?
I think the Bears helped themselves out.
So y'all don't like my lines? What you telling me? Wow.
So the problem I have with the Lions,
Flip coin toss.
I think they could have moved. I think they could have got each of the guys they got with the next pick they had. Like, I think they could have gotten somebody else at the beginning and then gotten those same guys, like Jahmyr Gibbs, they could have got with their second round pick.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Possibly.
I was like, well, yeah, I didn't like that.
That was my thing. We talked about that too, Mike. We talked about that. Even at linebacker, he could have been gotten second or third round.
Yeah, Campbell from Iowa, they might have got him. I think they could have got him with the pick they picked Gibbs. They could have got Campbell. And I think they could have got Gibbs with the next pick. In my opinion, I think they could have.
I think I'm just happy. I think I'm just happy because they got Hooker. You know, I loved Hooker the whole time.
I agree with you. 100%. I love Hendon Hooker. I think that's a great pick.
By week, what is he starting?
Who's the quarterback now? Goff.
I agree. We're going to get to who.
I'm saying Goff is going to start, but by week what will Hendon Hooker start?
Like, I'm going to say by about week 4. He's not going to. Campbell's he's a no-nonsense guy. He reminds me so much of like Bill Cowher, that fucking fire in his belly. When he comes at you, he's got that fire in his belly.
I don't think Goff's that bad.
He still has a player mentality.
I think they might give Hendon Hooker a year to develop and then play him next year.
Yeah.
But I think long-term wise, Hendon Hooker will be a guy.
Yeah.
I like him.
I do. You know who else I thought had a decent – I thought Green Bay did okay. I really did. I thought they helped themselves. They helped themselves for the sake of Jordan Love. They were building a team for Jordan Love now.
Yeah, because they didn't have.
I know what you say about that tight end, Terry. I get that, but at the end of the day, like, you need that safety net as a starting quarterback, especially that young.
So they got the edge, then they got that tight end. I don't know, but then they picked a wide receiver, then another tight end.
Yeah.
So they had 13 picks.
That helps, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yeah,
Sure.
You can miss on a few. My favorite was Seattle.
3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends.
That's going to help Jordan Love.
That's helping Jordan Love.
What'd you like about Seattle, Mike?
They got the number 1 corner. They got the number 1 receiver. That's a pretty great start. Derek Hall has been very productive at Auburn. He's a D end, rush end. Great.
Yeah.
His stats have been really good. They got the 3rd best running back from UCLA, Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Or how do you say it? Charbonnet.
Charbonnet
from UCLA. I like him a lot. And I think Morris, the edge from Michigan, has a chance to be a starter too. He's a good football player. More of a run guy, but yeah, he's got a chance. And then they got a good running back from Georgia, late Kenny McIntosh. They got him late.
Yes.
I agree with that one too.
And they got the center from Michigan, who eventually could be a starter. I think they did really, really, really well. They got all guys that can start. And
can you say his name for me, please?
I didn't even write it down. I was getting ready to, and I was like, "Wow, that's too many vowels. I can't."
Center. Yeah, he's a center.
But he's got a thick body. He's not super long, but he's got a good body. I think that guy could be pretty good.
I don't think you need to be long as a center. You just got to have a good first punch. Just that first punch.
You need to be smart.
It's always on and away. Who the hell are we kidding here? You're a center. It's on and away. If you blow your block, you're an idiot.
Yep.
Right?
I agree. So I had Pittsburgh number 1. I had Seattle 2. I had Arizona 3. I love that they moved back, and then they moved back up and got Paris Johnson, who's the best offensive tackle in the whole thing, in my opinion. They got him at 6. They got so here's the best part. They have 2 number 1 picks next year, and one of them is the Texans, who suck. And themselves. They could have the 1st and 2nd pick next year, possibly. And a better the first 5 or 6 picks next year will be better than anybody in this year's draft, in my opinion.
Are the Texans starting C.J. Stroud, or are they going to start Davis Mills?
You got to question. I think you got to go with Stroud off the rip. I mean, Mills doesn't give you really much of anything.
What Mills do? Yeah.
I mean, he has good games. Don't get me wrong. He had a couple of good games, but yeah, it's not Stroud. Did Mills go to West Virginia?
Davis Mills, Stanford.
Oh yeah,
he's a smart kid. He's going to have a career like Fitzpatrick is what he's going to have, because he can do just enough to hang around, win a few games, keep himself relevant, let that kind of shit. And then he's not. I agree with you. He's not a starter, but he can keep himself relevant.
Yeah,
he can come in. Look, if he was our number 2 in Pittsburgh, I'd be very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Knowing if Kenny went down, I would be okay with it. Yeah, the batch kind of guy. I still think the Steelers are going to end up signing Mason Rudolph. I still think they're going to end up signing him. He's still sitting out there. Nobody grabbed him. He knows the system like no one else. He's been part of that organization. I'd take him for a
I like Rudolph.
I take him before I take Trubisky. You're spending $10 million on Trubisky for what? For what? Rudolph, to watch Kenny walk out in the field and play?
Rudolph will throw that thing deep, boy. He don't mind throwing it deep. He does not. I like him.
No. There's after he took that hit from what's his name from the Ravens, that was bigger than you can imagine. I mean, the guy got knocked unconscious. And that to me, that would be a difference maker in my life as a professional, but it is what it is.
Rudolph, I thought he got that from Cleveland. Miles
Earl Thomas knocked his ass out on the field.
That's right. Miles Garrett took his helmet off.
Yeah.
That was a good hit.
Hey, who forgot the foundation of how to draft? Who are the losers in this draft to you guys? I think Minnesota with their pick of Addison is questionable. I didn't see anything after that that impressed me with Minnesota. I didn't like Washington's picks. I know Mike loves that corner, Emmanuel Sanders. Is that Sanders? Emmanuel Forbes.
Forbes.
And I also question New Orleans. Yeah, they got Breesy or whatever the hell his name is. He's a good football player, but he's always hurt. He's going to have that stigma about him with that knee forever. Hopefully he makes his money, and I'm sure he's going to be smart about that.
Well,
how about you guys?
Noob dumped on my line, so I guess I got to say the line.
I don't know. I'm looking at this thing, and I think they must have the MCPS. Everyone gets 50% rule. No one got below a C. But anyway, I think the Niners, that's the team to pick the kicker in the second round or whatever. They picked a safety, a kicker, a tight end. I don't know if they're draft. I wasn't crazy about the Niners draft.
Well, I didn't like Denver just because Denver threw away all their picks before they even went. So they hardly had anything to go with. In the NFL, you have to have draft picks. And they thought new ownership came in. We'll just get our quarterback. Well, it doesn't matter about the draft. We'll get our quarterback and we'll be good to go. Didn't work out too good. They had, 4 picks? Is that what it was?
I think at the end of the day with Russ Wilson, Mike, I think at the end of the day, what he does the first 4 games this year dictates the rest of his career because he was terrible last year.
He was.
The first 4 games, I'll give him the first 4 games this year. After that, that's it. We'll make a determination if last year was an abomination, if it was an outlier, or, I just think that he's in that position, and that's what they've got to figure out.
So you're Denver. You have 4 picks. You pick Marvin Mims, who's a solid receiver. Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like him. He's fast, catches the ball well downfield. He's great downfield speed guy. Drew Sanders, who I don't even know what that guy is. He was left Alabama. He was an edge guy at Alabama. Left Alabama, goes to Arkansas, starts an inside backer, and he's good, but he's I don't know when I watch him. I don't know that he's very fluid. I don't think he's good enough to play inside backer in the NFL. So what are you going to use him as? I don't know. And then you got Riley Moss, who's a white corner. When's the last time there was a white corner starting in the NFL?
Jason Sehorn.
Oh, that dude at the Giants.
What year was that? 2002?
Jason Sehorn. That's him.
What was that? Safety, though, wasn't he?
Originally, he was a corner.
He was a corner.
No, he did go. He ended up going to safety, but he was a corner. Yes,
right.
He dated that hot
That's
chick.
the path for every white guy that thinks he's a corner. He goes to safety.
He dated that woman that was on, Law and Order.
So dumb,
right?
Yeah. That's funny as hell. So that's your 3rd pick is the white corner. All right. Then we got J.L. Skinner from Boise State.
Safe.
Great draft. Let's clap it up. Yay. Good job. High five each other in the room.
I love when they announce the names and the ladies and everyone. The guy, they look around and like, they don't even know who the hell it is. No one knows who they are. Yeah.
The white corner.
The white corner. Come on, I like that though. I like it.
That's that's a new TV show, The White Corner.
He can play
the white.
It's a spinoff. It's a spinoff from The White Shadow.
Is that in Baltimore?
No.
It's only in Iowa.
No. Only in Iowa. Hey, if QB's so important, at the end of 2023, where do we rank these 5 guys, you guys? Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Thompson, Will Levis, and
Richardson. Anthony Richardson.
I'm sorry. I typed it up wrong. Anthony Richardson.
And then who else?
I said Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, and Hendon Hooker.
Oh, man. You already know where my homerism is going. Hendon 1, Levis 2, Stroud 3, Richardson 4, and then the other one,
Will Levis.
Young
5.
He said Levis 1.
Wow, Young 5.
I got Young 4. Young 4. I got Stroud number 1. I think Stroud's going to be a good pro. I do. There's something about him I like. I know he doesn't talk real intelligent, but there's something. He's got that it factor. I've got Levis number 2. I've got Hooker number 3. I got Young number 4, and I got Richardson number 5. I think Richardson's an athlete. I'm not going to take anything away from that guy, but I don't know if he's going to be an NFL guy. I just don't. That's my opinion.
I just think of the QBs, I think Hooker and Levis are the pure passers. I mean, I like pure passer. I don't like, you're a quarterback, man. Be a quarterback. I don't like all that.
Yep.
Be a quarterback.
Mike, how'd you have it ranked?
So I did it based on impact. And I really feel like Carolina drafted Bryce Young to be the guy, and I think they're going to have the parts around him for him to be successful.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I got Bryce Young. I think Richardson for the Colts is my number 2 because the head coach was at Philly and he did a great job, at Philly. I think Richardson, I think he understands what he has with Richardson. I think he'll work with him and make him successful. I got Hendon Hooker, number 3. I'm with Rasheed on this. I love Hendon Hooker. I think long-term, if I had to pick long-term, of this group, I would pick Hendon Hooker as number 1. Long-term. This year, because he's with the Lions, there's already an established starter. I don't think this year, but I think long-term, Hendon Hooker is my favorite quarterback of this group. Then I went Stroud with Houston, and then Will Levis. I just think Will Levis is going to be a dud.
Wow.
Interesting.
He's their third-string guy right now.
He'll beat out Malik Willis very quickly.
Do you know that? I don't know.
They have no confidence in Willis.
He's terrible.
Mike, would you draft a quarterback after you drafted one number 1 last year? If you had confidence in him, honestly, would you waste that pick?
I would. Good point. They moved up. They moved up to get him too, didn't they? In the second round, they moved up to get him.
Yes. I have no confidence. At the end of the day, I had no confidence in Willis last year. I mean, here's a guy who left Auburn and his only option was Liberty.
Listen.
So that told me something in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, GM should be fired, I think.
Who?
The GM. GM should be fired.
He did get fired, didn't he?
The coach's head's on the shop block next because they.
That's bad.
Sis, who was your how'd you play this out?
Hey, it's like LeBron's talcum powder. He just throwing it up wherever they fall. I have Levis. The only reason he's number 1 because I think he has more of a team around him right now. I don't know when he'll take over, but I think he will.
You drinking Crown Royal tonight?
Maker's Mark.
Oh, okay.
Not the Crown.
I think Richardson will step in for the Colts and do okay. Let's see. Bryce Young, I have him. Panthers. They were close to making the playoffs. 7-10. That division sucked.
Man, this list
that guy did a great job with them.
This list sucks. Sorry.
We're all over the place.
This list stinks, man. I'm sorry.
Every one of us is a complete opposite of each other.
Hey, Sis, this list is terrible.
It sucks. That's why I said put that powder on wherever they fall.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're right, though.
I don't think like Noob said, I think Hendon Hooker long term, but you saying by the end of 2023, I don't think he's going to steal the job from Goff. He's going to have to win it. I don't know when that will be. I don't think it's going to be by week 4 or 5. I think maybe later on, but
yeah. He's coming off injury.
Other guys don't have much around them. The Colts, Texans, Panthers. Well, Panthers were a game away from that division because the Bucks won it with 8-9. Were they 8-9? Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not interesting.
But that's funny how different we all
one.
were. We were all over the place.
Yeah. My only thing, Mike, I get the head coach from Philly and all that. But I look at Jalen Hurts' body of work while he was in college at Oklahoma, while he was in college at Alabama. His body of work was very good, and he's a smart kid. I don't know if Richardson, who started only 13 games in college and passed for 50% efficiency, can be fixed. I don't know if he can fix him. I don't know unless you redesign your offense to meet the needs of him. He does have Pittman at receiver. He has Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. They were a decent offensive line. that team was picked to do a lot of things last year early on, and
Quarterback.
I guess we'll see.
So my counter to that is, if Hurts is so good, why did he get benched at Alabama?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
Well, I don't know.
Tua coming in.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd have to ask Saban what his brain's thinking. But Saban always has. Saban always has 3-4 guys that can play at the next level, or at least have an opportunity to play at the next level.
But I'm just saying, if you're a guy, you're a guy. Like, you don't get replaced. Like, if you're really that good, I mean, you're playing with the best. Like Rasheen always says, who are you playing with? He's playing with the best talent in college football.
And that was in the championship game.
But we don't know what the money man said out in Alabama. The money man might have had a different idea.
Mike, if you were to make a guess right now, and sheerly a guess, who's going to be around in, say, 3 years from now, Tua or Jalen Hurts?
Oh, Jalen Hurts is, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so there's your answer right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's your answer. Tua was a decent college quarterback. He got the job done with all those high caliber players he had, and Jalen Hurts didn't. He went to Oklahoma. He did well in Oklahoma. He got drafted. He continues to grow in the Philadelphia organization. Tua, I don't know. I think that guy's decent down in Miami. I like their head coach, but I don't know. Tua, I don't look at him and say, I don't look at Tua and say, yeah, that guy's got Super Bowl caliber quarterback written all over him. I don't ever.
You posted that in the chat today about Levis. Is this going to put a chip on his shoulder? Talk about putting a chip on his shoulder, getting yanked in a championship game, then going somewhere else, proving himself at the next college, going to the NFL, proving himself there. He's proven a lot of doubters. And I think Hurts is there for the long haul. I don't know about Tua. I'm not sold on him. He's concussion, one hit away from death. That guy, I mean, it's scary.
Yeah, it is scary watching him. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
His arm strength's not that good either. I don't think Tua's arm strength is that good.
Neither is his brother's. He's a I don't want to call him a bum, but he kind of holds Maryland back. He's not a bum, but he holds Maryland back, in my opinion. He holds Maryland back. And he was brought to Maryland simply because, Locks knew him from Alabama, and he thought that he could pull out of him what they got out of his brother down there. That's my opinion.
If they had a better
option, know more than I do.
A better option, they'd take it. I think if there was a better option, they'd take it, though. I think he's the best option they have.
I want to hear what Caden has to say about him after playing the season with him. That's what I want to do. I want to sit down with Caden, have a conversation about what he thinks about Tua's brother. I don't even know the damn kid's first name. I want to hear what he has to say about him after playing the season with him. Because he played with Bennett. Bennett was a decent quarterback. He's just a head case, and he played with them as a true freshman. Hey, guys, who's going to be the first guy out of this draft class to get arrested? I say Jalen Carter.
That's a softball.
Writing's on the wall.
That's a softball. I don't like the question because we don't want to see any of that, but I think that's a softball. Someone made the comparison, Albert Haynesworth. Yeah, he's a Albert Haynesworth in the making. But they did say he has a lot of support around him in Philly because it's the city of brotherly love, and he has a lot of former teammates on the team with him will probably set him straight. So it would probably be Jalen Carter, but he's going to be walking the straight and narrow.
Marvin Harrison's still floating around out in Philadelphia. I know he shot and killed somebody out there, right?
He shot and killed some people. Yeah, hell yeah.
That's why he has a car wash. Keep it clean.
Marvin Harrison's an OG. Mike, who do you think?
I don't want to say. I hope nobody does. I hope no one is. I really hope no one gets arrested.
Right. Man, me too. But
I think Jalen Carter has some questions. Jalen Carter's made some questionable decisions already. I just don't know how you come to a workout and not ready to work out. Like, that's just, to me, like, that's
like me drinking before the SATs. I knew I wasn't going to do well, but I still showed up. What the hell? You got to show up.
This is really early, Ben, for next year's top 5. My top 5 are Caleb Williams from USC, Derek May from UNC, in no particular order, by the way. Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. from Clemson. I think he goes high. I think he has a stud season to bring that defense back on the map. Rasheen, who you got? Who's your top 5 going in there? Who's your 5 guys?
I got those same top 3. I love Marvin Harrison Jr., man.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a cornerback out of Penn State I like also. I can't remember his name. I didn't write. This is all in my head.
Penn State has 3 guys that could go in the top 10.
Davis. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? T-Sizzle?
Chop Davis.
Yeah. What about my man? And Kool-Aid, the 5th pick.
From Alabama.
I read a nice article about him. He hates his first name, so he calls himself Kool-Aid.
I hate his first name too.
I'm going to start doing that. I hate my first name.
What are we going to call you?
What are you going to call yourself?
I don't know. You guys. Hey, I had those same 4, but I also threw in Blake Corum.
You like him? Interesting.
No, I had Caleb Williams, Harrison Jr., Drake May, Kool-Aid, and I'm throwing in Blake Corum.
Noobs?
Blake Corum. I have Caleb Williams, number 1. I have Drake May, number 2 from Carolina. I actually have Bo Nix from Oregon, number 3, who used to be at Auburn. He actually had a very good season last year at Oregon. I think he's going to take the next step with Oregon. He's in a good system, and that has to do with a lot of your success. I love Marvin Harrison, like you guys. And then my number 5 was Olu Fashanu at Penn State, offensive tackle.
The offensive tackle.
Yeah.
It was a toss-up for me. It was
Gonzaga.
It was between him and Alt, and I'm not a Penn State guy as far as Franklin goes, so I never give them the edge.
I like Alt too.
If
I had 6, I'd say Alt. If there's another one, I would say
Alt.
I like
Notre Dame churns out those guys. They churn out those offensive linemen very well. Penn State does have a nice group there. If he's ever going to be successful, it should be with that group next year.
He won't.
That's no bullshit. Yeah, no, he won't. He won't beat the big boys. He won't.
Nope.
All right. Here's my interesting draft fact for you guys. I want to hear your interesting draft fact. Jordan Addison, and Chuck Foreman were both drafted number 1. They're both from Frederick, Maryland. They both went to the Minnesota Vikings.
That is such a cool fact.
Yeah, about 50 years apart, but yeah. Yeah.
That is a cool fact. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Chucky Foreman.
That was pretty cool. Wow.
The first draft was in 1936. They picked 81 players, 9 rounds, 9 teams from a pool of 90 players. Talk about competition.
That's it?
9 people. Hey, you suck. You can't make it. Talk about Mr. Irrelevant.
You're irrelevant.
You're irrelevant. Yeah.
You're Mr. Irrelevant.
9 rounds, 9 teams.
From 1947 to 1958, the NFL issued a bonus selection for the number 1 overall pick. The team was decided by a random draw. So the random draw picked the number 1 pick for those, 12 years? 11 or 12 years?
Early lottery system.
Yeah. And so they would go in order from worst to best, but then the number 1 overall pick was just a random pick. And that would be an additional pick. So if you were the worst team, you could be the second pick and the first pick.
That's interesting. They should do that in the NHL.
When they finish, they only did it for 12 years, but within the 12 years, every team had the first selection at one point.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. But it also would fuel a team, fuel some of these teams. If you don't need a quarterback, if you don't need a receiver, you would get the top lineman. You would still leave somebody behind. Rasheen,
what are your thoughts on the lottery? What do you guys think about that? Like, say the NFL were to be like the NBA.
When I think lottery, I think the NHL And one of the interesting things about the NHL is if you do not make the playoffs, you still go into the lottery. But if you're one of the lower teams, like Pittsburgh didn't qualify for the playoffs, but they can pull a ping pong ball no higher than number 4. They can't get the number 1 overall pick. And I think that from that perspective, it's not good because you can tank it. You can tank it so that, you know, when you see that you're some crap, you can tank it and get more percentage, a higher percentage to get that lottery pick. I don't necessarily like the way they do that, you know. And I'm not saying Pittsburgh deserves number 1 pick. Trust me on this, I don't. But also, you know, you're going to see a team that was a perennial winner 3 years ago, who's fallen off for about 3 years, and all of a sudden they get the number 1 pick, and they're going to escalate back up to the top and stay there with this kid coming out, Connor Bedard. And that just, you know, that's the way I interpret it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just don't like them doing it that way. That's just me.
Like San Antonio in basketball.
Yeah.
Like, don't they have the number 1 pick? They're going to get the kid from Europe who's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But San Antonio's paid their dues too. They're just fucking horrible. Like they are bad. They've been bad for a long time now after winning. And you know, it's interesting you mentioned them, Mike, because they have always been like one of my favorite basketball teams because they have guys like Duncan and Robinson. Who's the dude who was married to the chick on
Parker?
Yeah,
Parker.
like.
Yep.
They had a bunch of bad
championship after a championship, and they didn't build a super team. You know, like these teams build super teams now, and I hate it. Like I don't like it at all. I don't like super teams.
Hold up, you know Duncan and Robinson, that's a super team.
They got drafted though. It wasn't like they signed either one of them as free agents.
It wasn't like they were calling each other up saying, "Hey, come over here and we'll dominate." But you mean, you know, like the Columbus Blue Jackets.
When KD went to the Golden State Warriors, they were already freaking loaded. And then they add him to the piece of the puzzle. You know, I don't like that. I don't think that's good for the sport. You don't see that in baseball, per se. You know, they try to do it, but look where the Yankees are. Look where the Mets are. Those teams, it's different. Padres. Yeah, another the Dodgers.
Yeah. It's still early, y'all. Pump your brakes.
Yeah.
Hey, well, we just got swept. They're coming to a screeching halt.
Anyway, hey, no 5th-year option for these guys. Tell me who you take on your team. Noobs, you got the Chargers. Terry and Rasheen, you got the Steelers. You ready? No 5th-year option, so they're going to be out there. Chase Young, Jeff Okota, Isaiah Simmons, C.J. Henderson, Mekhi Becton, Javon Kinlaw, Austin Jackson, Damon Arnett, Clavon Chason, Jalen Rieger, Kenneth Murray, Cesar Ruiz. Jordan Love's going to get signed, so even though they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, there's something working there. Jordan Brooks, Patrick Queen, Noah. We're going to skip him. James Gladney and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
You're saying who doesn't get a 5th year?
Those guys are not getting 5th years.
Oh,
who do you take on the Steelers that helps them? Terry and Rasheen.
Oh, okay.
I'm picking up a linebacker.
I'll take
Queen.
I was thinking.
I say Patrick Queen too. Mike, who you taking?
Before you sign,
can I take none of the above?
Before you sign the Steelers, I was originally going to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if I'm taking the Steelers, I'm saying Queen.
All right. If there's a none of the above option, I'm taking that. It's just it was a bad class. Chase Young was freaking awful last year when he came back.
He got hurt.
He got lazy. He didn't. No, he got hurt, but he's lazy. He never worked out. He did. You could just see his body. His body didn't develop. He looks underdeveloped. He's soft. Kenneth Murray for the Chargers is awful. If I had to take anybody and I had to take one of them, I'd take Patrick Queen.
How about Isaiah Simmons?
Pretty good too.
Yeah,
I
stats
like
good.
Simmons
I don't know. Or stats good.
Yes.
Who needs a wide receiver? Take Austin Jackson.
No, Austin Jackson's a tackle for Miami, isn't he?
Oh, who's that?
You talking about Jackson for the Chargers?
No, the Austin from the Cowboys. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh,
you made that up.
Got you.
Overall, I think it tells you though it's a bad draft class.
Yeah, if you don't know who these guys' names are, really, to be honest with you, I know who Chase Young is just because he was number 1 overall. I know who Okudah is. I know who Simmons is. I know who Jordan Love is. I know who Rieger, Kenneth Murray, Edwards-Helaire, Patrick Queen. That's it. That's who I know. Like, because they play. Because they've had an opportunity. Ruiz. They've earned an opportunity.
You said Cesar Ruiz or something. I never even heard of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Clayvon
Chason. Yeah, I like
Detroit.
Yeah,
is that Detroit?
Yeah, he might be.
Oh,
in 3 years, you're gonna be saying the same thing about this draft class.
You think, Mike?
Yes, they're not very good.
Who's going to be the biggest bust?
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, that's who I said. Yes.
Interesting. Hey, Rasheem put this out to us, and I said, this is a good podcast question. This is the last question tonight, guys. Rasheem's question was, your top 5 all-time athletes in any sport. My top 5, I actually made it 6. Babe Ruth, Dr. J, Mario Lemieux, Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Michael Phelps was my top 5.
Has to be
Who's yours?
This has to be a whole segment. But go ahead.
Yeah, it does. I agree, Rasheem. This is a huge question.
Man.
You think?
Bro.
Yeah, yes. All right, go ahead.
Yes. It's a whole – you could do a whole episode on this.
You want to roll back with it next time?
I think so, man. This is a whole show.
Yeah. All right, we'll do it next time.
You said Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Because he could pitch and he could hit. And he was a ridiculous hitter.
He was.
And he was a ridiculous pitcher. He was the best pitcher
and he ate fucking hot dogs right before he played.
He was out of shape.
He drank a lot of whiskey the day of and the day before.
So
he was a tremendous athlete.
This is a segment. You know why this is a whole segment? Babe Ruth didn't play against black folks, so he can't be considered.
Okay. Okay,
Sam.
I understand that.
Right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? I mean, listen.
All right. Replace him with Jackie Robinson.
No, hell no. He was nowhere near. He ain't even near the greatest black player either.
Who, Jackie?
Yes.
He was a groundbreaking athlete, but he was not a great athlete, right?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying, Rasheem?
I agree with exactly.
I agree with
that.
Listen.
Hey,
go ahead and give me your social media.
That's
going to be question number 1. In 2 weeks, when we meet, no matter where in the hell it is, because we're going back on location, in 2 weeks, we're going to figure this out.
First of all, hold on. Before we do this, I need to know, are we saying best like athlete as in like fastest, we can jump the highest?
Listen.
Like that type of athlete, or are you saying like the best at what they do?
Listen, Newt, and that's why this is a whole segment. Because when you say Tom Brady is one of the greatest athletes ever,
no,
that's crazy.
No, he's not
crazy.
Are you saying in their sport or any sport?
It can be any sport, but listen, how you don't have Bo Jackson on your list or Deion Sanders? Yeah, your list is crazy because both of them can play at a high level, major league sports.
Bo Jackson didn't play long enough. I think he's one of the greatest.
But he did make it to the majors.
2 majors.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you, but I don't think the top 5. So that's where we're getting into this debate. This is awesome.
Listen, hold up. Before we go any further, Dave Winfield got drafted by every sports.
Yes.
Excuse my language. Yeah. Every league out there. Every league. NBA, MLB, NFL, CBA, CFL, every league.
NHL, AHL.
No,
he's the most underrated. He's the most underrated. I'll say that. I'll definitely agree with that.
Dude,
we're circling back.
Oh, listen.
You got to give a definition when we do this.
Okay. I need more clarity because I'm confused.
Okay.
Like, you can say Michael Phelps, But if you put Michael Phelps on a basketball court with Michael Jordan, like what? No, that's not
If you
working.
put him on the
nobody you can
football
put
field, he's got a good swim move. All right, I see what you're saying.
That's good.
Shit. Go ahead, give your social media, Young. On that note.
Butterfly.
At onemakersmark.com. Or no, at One Young Terry.
Okay.
One
Noobs,
Young-
hit him with your social media.
Coach Noob, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, the gram. I might not respond on the gram, though. I only respond on Twitter.
Rasheen, let's hear it.
I'm easy. Rasheen Hill on Facebook. And I'm going to get me a new studio by next time because this rolling around the house, this ain't it.
You're not going to
I
have
like
to.
the
We're going to be
artwork,
in
though.
person next time. Whether
Easy
it's a
like
brewery
Sunday
or a game, we're going to be somewhere. We just
we'll
made
talk-
adjustments for
looks
this
good.
time.
We'll
Hey,
talk about
connect
that.
with us
We'll
here
talk
on
about
the
that
Original
off.
Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei by checking out our webpage, which is podpage.com/Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei. All one clump. You can also like our Facebook page. You can join our conversation on Twitter, and you can reach us on Snapchat at OSP with M&M. You can follow us on Instagram, watch our TikToks, and check out our YouTube because this will be on YouTube at Original Sports Podcast. Hey, feel free to let us know if you have any comments, questions, or you want to jump on with us. We love having people come on so we can talk with you. You can email me at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Sean and Koviak for being our voice intro. And thanks to Charlie Hodgson for doing our intro and outro music. And a shout out to my wife, Terry Maradei, for being our webmaster. Join us every 2 weeks as we experience the O on the Original Sports Podcast.
Get a refill, T-Sizzle.
Oh, man, I'm done.
I haven't seen you